I got 15 minutes to shoot a vlog and I don't have anything. What's a topic I can think of off the top of my head? I'm talking about the top of my head today. You can kind of see this as an origin story for Bald Bryce being, well, bald. But first, I'm going to tell you a story about how my dad broke both his feet. It was the late 80s, early 90s, and I was more or less a twinkle in my parents' eye. My dad, who's an adventurous hiker and explorer, went hiking in the Mountain West somewhere with his brothers. Forgive me for not knowing the details, I was not born yet. Or was I? Now, my dad is a very skilled person, but sometimes, especially in his youth, he could be coaxed into these competitions where he has to puff out his chest and show how manly he is. On this hike, this took the form of jumping on top of rocks and whooping and hollering. Again, I wasn't there, but I imagine it went something kind of like this. My dad came to the edge of a 20 to 30 foot cliff at the edge of the path, and out on the side there was this stack of boulders that was just, 3-4 feet out. And my dad, in this mindset that oh so improved his judgment, leapt for it. He landed off balance and was kind of teetering backwards and forwards, not sure which way he was gonna fall. He found himself leaning forward, facing forward, and thought to himself, I can either keep up this game of trying to regain my balance, but I might fall backwards and have no control how I fall, or I can lean forwards, run down the face of the cliff, and have a much more controlled fall. He took the second option. He shattered both his heels and had to wear casts for several months, but he survived long enough to have me and my younger sister. Please don't jump off cliffs. What does this have to do with me being bald? As several of you know, I used to wear my hair like this. Proper Prince Charming, huh? Went on a mission, came back, got enlisted in this Where's Waldo activity, and took it a little too far. I began growing my hair back, and actually experimented with sideburns at one point. But I realized that I could never return to this. I could never wear my hair the way that I actually wanted to. Furthermore, I noticed that the hair on top of my head was starting to thin, and I had to wear it progressively shorter and shorter for it not to be noticeable. It was kind of stressing me out, and anytime somebody would crack a joke about it, I would kind of get offended. And then I realized something. There's a lot of stress in growing bald, but there's no stress in being bald. I ditched the tattoos and nose ring and just shaved my head and started wearing it like that. Life was so much better. I felt more free, I felt more like myself, like my dad. I could either flail around and try to maintain this ever-changing status quo, or I could lean into it and own it. Sometimes you break both your feet, but other times you just have to suffer a few bald jokes. So if you're encountering a reoccurring problem in your life, I don't know, maybe you should just lean into it and see what happens.